The Amish approach to pork and potato roast begins with ingredient selection that reflects their agricultural lifestyle and commitment to self-sufficiency. Pork shoulders or Boston butt roasts, typically weighing between 4–6 pounds, are preferred cuts because they contain enough marbling to remain moist during long, slow cooking while being economical enough to feed multiple family members. These cuts come from hogs raised on Amish farms, where animals are fed corn, oats, and other grains grown on the property, resulting in well-flavored meat with good fat distribution. Amish cooks select potatoes based on variety and storage quality rather than appearance alone. Russet potatoes are favored for their high starch content, which allows them to absorb flavors while maintaining structural integrity during extended roasting. Yukon Gold varieties are also acceptable, particularly when russets are unavailable. The potatoes must be firm, free from sprouting, and show no signs of green coloring, which indicates solanine development. Size uniformity is less important than quality, as Amish cooking traditions accommodate natural variation in homegrown produce. The seasoning approach employed by Amish cooks emphasizes enhancement rather than masking of natural flavors. Coarse kosher salt serves as the primary seasoning, applied generously to draw out moisture from the meat surface while beginning the flavor penetration process. Black pepper, ground fresh when possible, provides heat and depth. Dried herbs form the aromatic foundation of the seasoning blend, with sage being particularly important due to its affinity for pork and its abundance in Amish herb gardens. Thyme adds earthy complexity to the herb mixture, while rosemary contributes pine-like notes that complement the richness of pork fat. Garlic, either fresh or dried, provides pungency that permeates both meat and vegetables during cooking. These seasonings are measured by hand rather than precise measurements, as experienced Amish cooks develop intuitive understanding of proper proportions through years of practice. Preparation begins 24 hours before cooking, allowing time for proper seasoning penetration and temperature adjustment. The pork roast is removed from cold storage and patted completely dry using clean cloth towels. Moisture on the meat surface prevents proper browning and seasoning adherence, making this drying step essential for optimal results. The dried meat is then seasoned on all surfaces, with particular attention paid to crevices where bone meets flesh. Salt application requires thorough coverage as it serves multiple functions beyond flavoring. Salt draws moisture from the meat surface through osmosis, creating better browning conditions while beginning the process of protein breakdown that leads to tenderness. The salted meat is then coated with the herb and spice mixture, pressed firmly to ensure adherence, and allowed to rest at room temperature for several hours before cooking begins. Potato preparation follows traditional methods designed to maximize flavor absorption while maintaining textural integrity. Medium-sized potatoes are scrubbed clean but left unpeeled, as the skins provide nutrients, flavor, and structural support during long cooking. The potatoes are cut into substantial pieces, typically quarters for large specimens or halves for smaller ones. Uniform size is important for even cooking, though slight variations are acceptable. The cut potatoes are placed in cold salted water for 30 minutes to remove excess starch, which could cause them to break down excessively during roasting. After soaking, they are drained thoroughly and patted dry, then lightly seasoned with salt and herbs to begin flavor development before they enter the roasting pot. Equipment selection reflects both tradition and practicality in Amish kitchens. Heavy cast-iron Dutch ovens, seasoned through years of use, provide ideal cooking vessels for pork and potato roasts. The thermal mass of cast iron ensures even heat distribution, while the tight-fitting lids create the moist cooking environment necessary for tender meat and properly cooked vegetables. The pot size must accommodate the roast and vegetables without overcrowding, which would result in steaming rather than proper roasting. Wood-fired cook stoves provide the heat source for most Amish cooking, requiring different techniques than modern gas or electric appliances. These stoves offer excellent heat control once properly managed, with different areas of the cooking surface providing varying temperature zones. The oven compartments maintain steady heat well, but require periodic fuel addition and attention to maintain consistent temperatures. The browning process begins the actual cooking sequence, developing flavors through the Maillard reaction while creating an appealing appearance. A small amount of rendered lard or butter is heated in the Dutch oven until it begins to shimmer, indicating proper temperature for browning. The seasoned pork roast is carefully lowered into the hot fat, where it should sizzle immediately upon contact. Proper browning requires patience and attention to detail. Each surface of the roast must be browned evenly, typically requiring 15–20 minutes of careful turning and monitoring. The browning process creates complex flavors while sealing the meat surface, though modern food science has disproven the idea that browning actually seals in juices. The real benefit lies in flavor development through caramelization of proteins and natural sugars. Once browning is complete, the roast is temporarily removed from the pot while the potatoes undergo their own browning process. The rendered fat and browned bits remaining in the pot bottom represent concentrated flavor that will enhance the entire dish. The prepared potatoes are added to this flavorful fat and stirred gently to coat all surfaces, allowing them to develop their own light browning over 5–8 minutes. Some Amish cooks add a light dusting of flour to the pot during this stage, creating a roux that will help thicken the natural juices during cooking. This technique is optional and depends on family preference and tradition. The flour, if used, should be stirred constantly to prevent burning, while allowing it to cook enough to eliminate raw flour taste. After the potatoes achieve light browning, they are arranged to create space in the pot center for the pork roast. The meat is returned to the pot and nestled among the potatoes, ensuring good contact between meat and pot bottom for proper heat transfer. Additional vegetables may be added at this point, depending on seasonal availability and family preferences. Root vegetables such as carrots, parsnips, turnips, and onions work well in this cooking method because they can withstand long cooking times while contributing complementary flavors. These vegetables should be cut into substantial pieces that will maintain their shape throughout the cooking process. Carrots are typically cut into thick diagonal slices, while onions are quartered, and root vegetables are chunked to similar sizes as the potatoes. Liquid addition requires careful judgment to achieve proper cooking results. Too much liquid creates braising conditions rather than roasting, while insufficient liquid may cause scorching before the meat fully cooks. The goal is to add enough liquid to create steam and prevent burning, while allowing concentration of flavors through reduction. Water serves as the most common liquid choice, though some families prefer chicken or beef stock for added richness. Apple cider provides subtle sweetness that complements pork particularly well, while white wine adds acidity that helps break down tough meat fibers. The liquid should reach approximately 1/3 of the way up the roast sides, providing adequate moisture without submerging the ingredients. Temperature control during roasting requires understanding of how different heat levels affect cooking results. Initial high temperature, around 450 degrees Fahrenheit, creates proper browning and begins the rendering process for pork fat. After 30 minutes, the temperature is reduced to 325 degrees Fahrenheit for the remainder of cooking, allowing gentle heat penetration that breaks down tough connective tissues without overcooking exterior portions. Cooking time varies based on roast size, but generally requires 3–4 hours for a 4–6 pound pork shoulder. Amish cooks rely more on visual and tactile cues than strict timing, checking for doneness by testing meat tenderness with a fork. Properly cooked pork should yield easily to gentle pressure and begin falling apart naturally when fully done. During cooking, the pot should be checked periodically to monitor liquid levels and cooking progress. Opening the oven door too frequently releases valuable heat and extends cooking time, so checks should be limited to once per hour unless problems are suspected. If liquid levels drop too low, small amounts of hot water or stock may be added to prevent scorching. The rendering process that occurs during slow roasting creates much of the dish's characteristic flavor and richness. Pork shoulder contains significant amounts of intramuscular fat that melts slowly during cooking, basting the meat naturally while providing flavor for the potatoes and vegetables. This rendered fat is considered valuable rather than problematic in traditional Amish cooking, as it provides both calories and satisfaction necessary for physically demanding farm work. Aromatics development during cooking provides sensory cues about progress and doneness. The initial browning creates savory, meaty smells that gradually develop into richer, more complex aromas as fat renders and vegetables caramelize. Experienced cooks can judge cooking progress by these changing aromas, using them as timing indicators supplemental to visual inspection. The potatoes undergo significant transformation during the long roasting process, absorbing flavors from rendered pork fat while developing concentrated taste through moisture loss and caramelization. They should remain intact but become fork tender, with golden exteriors and creamy interiors when properly cooked. Overcooking results in mushy, broken potatoes that lose their appealing texture. Final cooking stages require careful attention as flavors reach full development and textures achieve optimal consistency. The meat should be fork tender and beginning to separate naturally, while vegetables maintain their shape but yield easily to gentle pressure. The cooking liquid should have reduced to a concentrated essence rather than thin broth, indicating proper moisture evaporation and flavor concentration. Resting after cooking allows meat juices to redistribute throughout the roast, ensuring moist, flavorful serving portions. The cooked roast should rest for 15-20 minutes after removal from the oven, during which time the potatoes continue absorbing residual flavors and the overall dish reaches optimal serving temperature. This resting period also makes carving and serving easier and safer. Serving presentation reflects Amish values of simplicity and abundance. The meat is transferred to a large serving platter where it can be easily portioned, often falling apart naturally due to proper cooking. Surrounding potatoes and vegetables are arranged attractively around the meat, their golden surfaces showcasing the successful cooking process. The concentrated cooking liquid serves as natural gravy, spooned over individual portions, or served separately. Traditional accompaniments include fresh-baked bread for absorbing flavorful juices, pickled vegetables for acidic contrast, and seasonal produce that balances the rich main dish. These accompaniments reflect the Amish practice of creating complete, satisfying meals that provide all necessary nutrients while making efficient use of available ingredients. Leftover management follows practical approaches that maximize food value while minimizing waste. Remaining roast can be shredded for sandwiches, soups, or casseroles, while leftover potatoes may be fried for breakfast or incorporated into other dishes. The concentrated cooking juices can be saved for soup bases or gravies, ensuring that no flavorful components are discarded. Nutritional considerations in traditional Amish cooking focus on providing adequate calories and nutrients for physically active lifestyles rather than modern dietary restrictions. The combination of protein from pork, carbohydrates from potatoes, and various nutrients from added vegetables creates balanced nutrition suitable for demanding farm work. The rendered fat provides concentrated energy and fat-soluble vitamins, while contributing to meal satisfaction and satiety. Seasonal variations adapt the basic recipe to available ingredients throughout the year. Spring versions might include early garden vegetables like radishes or green onions, while summer adaptations incorporate fresh herbs and vegetables. Fall preparations often feature root vegetables from recent harvests, and winter versions rely on stored ingredients and preserved foods to maintain nutrition during cold months. Regional differences exist among various Amish communities, with cooking techniques and ingredient preferences varying somewhat based on local traditions and available resources. Pennsylvania Dutch influences contribute certain seasonings and techniques, while Midwest communities may incorporate different vegetables or cooking methods based on their agricultural patterns and cultural backgrounds. Equipment maintenance represents an important aspect of traditional Amish cooking that affects food quality and cooking success. Cast iron cookware requires proper seasoning and care to maintain non-stick properties and prevent rust. Wood-fired stoves need regular cleaning and maintenance to ensure proper heat distribution and fuel efficiency. These maintenance practices ensure consistent cooking results while preserving valuable equipment for future generations. Food safety considerations in traditional cooking methods rely on time-tested practices rather than modern temperature monitoring. Proper cooking temperatures are judged by visual and textural cues, while safe food handling follows traditional guidelines that have proven effective over centuries. Long, slow cooking at moderate temperatures ensures pathogen destruction while developing optimal flavors and textures. The cultural significance of dishes like pork and potato roast extends beyond mere nutrition to encompass family traditions, community identity, and connection to agricultural heritage. These meals represent the successful integration of farming and cooking that allows Amish communities to maintain self-sufficiency while preserving traditional foodways for future generations. Modern applications of traditional Amish cooking methods offer lessons in patience, ingredient quality, and technique mastery that remain relevant regardless of kitchen equipment or lifestyle. The emphasis on slow cooking, proper seasoning, and respect for ingredient integrity provides valuable guidance for anyone seeking to improve their cooking skills while connecting with time-tested culinary wisdom. This traditional approach to pork and potato roast demonstrates how simple ingredients, properly prepared and cooked with patience and skill, can create deeply satisfying meals that nourish both body and spirit, while maintaining connection to agricultural traditions and family heritage that have sustained communities for generations.